How's it going, everyone? I am Walter, the film hermit, and today let's talk some more film. We're going to be talking about Transformers the movie. This is the 35th anniversary of, in my opinion, the best Transformers movie they ever made. This is the animated version of a Transformers film. This is the first Transformers movie that they ever did. It came out in 1986, and it was a continuation of the original animated series. So this came out when I was in elementary school. I was a huge Transformers fan, and basically I watched the episodes on TV whenever I could. And as an adult, I've collected some of the DVDs as well. Like I said, I think it's the best Transformers movie they ever did, even the live action ones. It's strange how animated cartoons we watched when we were kids end up having better acting and then better dialogue than live action films that are made today with all the money and budgets that we have nowadays, but that's kind of how it turns out. But that's a subject for another video if I ever decide to go through the Transformers movies themselves, the live action Michael Bay ones. Bumblebee's awesome though, I love the Bumblebee. So let's quickly look at the DVDs. I never got... Transformers, this series, had an interesting run on DVD here in the US. They had some Snapper Keeper cases for DVDs, and I remember having those. And then for some reason I got rid of them, and I don't know why. And then it came up with an Ultimate box set, and I never got the funds together to get it. Now it goes for crazy prices on eBay. But I found a bunch of these on in the Big Lots stores. This is the first disc of it. This is season 1. And I'm sure most of you, if you haven't seen the animated series, you've seen the movies. Basically, you have the Autobots who are led by Optimus Prime and the Decepticons led by Megatron. And they basically are fighting a war on their planet of Cybertron, and the war ends up spilling over on the Earth. And the cool thing about them, they're robots that can transform into vehicles. It was a toy line they basically decided to make into an animated series, which actually was very, very popular in the 80s. And actually has remained popular over the last 35 years. They've made live action films which grossed millions and millions of dollars at the box office. But again, those movies are another subject. Some of those movies are some of the worst movies ever made. Let's go through that in another video. So these discs that are in the DVDs, there's no reason to open them up because there's nothing much in there. I think some of them have artwork, but you know, we're gonna go quickly to the movie. So basically, the thing with these editions is they're the same discs that come in the box set. So some of these I picked up for like $5-6 at Big Lots. So it was a really good deal. This is the first part of season 2. Looks like season 1 was just one edition, but then season 2 they split up in 2 editions. And I ended up going to Big Lots and searching for them and finding them. And then this is season 3 and season 4. So the movie actually takes place in between season 2 and season 3. And the show takes place in the 1980s, because that's when it was made. And the movie takes place in 2005. There's supposed to be like a significant amount of time between the two because some of the human characters have grown up, and it shows you how long the war has been going on. They've actually said, I believe Hasbro is the maker of the toys, that one of the reasons they wanted to make the movie is that they wanted to make new toys. So because of this, a lot of the characters die in the movie. And a lot of people don't like the movie for that very reason, because they thought it took advantage of children just to get their money. Optimus Prime was probably one of the most popular heroic characters in animated television shows back in the 80s. I know he was one of my favorites. And spoiler alert, it's been 35 years, so what? You gotta see it. They actually kill Optimus Prime in this movie. And there are always these rumors that basically there was a kid that was so sad about it that when he went home after watching it in the theaters, he locked himself in the bathroom and wouldn't come out for like 2 weeks. I think that story's probably been, over glorified over the last 35 years. But right now, the last time I heard the story, it was 2 weeks he wouldn't come out of the bathroom. I didn't get to see it at the theater. I remember back in '86, I was towards the end of my elementary school time, and my parents wouldn't take me to go see it because, well, they didn't want to spend money to go see a cartoon on the big screen. I mean, it's not something that adults were into back in the 80s. So I never didn't get to see it till it came out on VHS years later. It took a while for it to come out on VHS. Now I have the DVD edition of it. The DVD edition is actually kind of cool because it's a lenticular edition, so I kept it. So when you turn it this way, I'm going to take the plastic protector off so it's like there's less of a glare on the screen so you can get a better look. But If you take it and you turn it one way, you get Optimus Prime and some of the original Autobots. You turn it the other way, you get the new character that's introduced in the film, Rodimus Prime, and some of the new Transformers in the movie. So when I finally saw this movie, I liked it. I mean, I went into it knowing that Optimus Prime was gonna die, so I was prepared for it. But it's one of those quintessential films from the 80s. It's got a lot of cheesy 80s rock music in it, and it's got cheesy dialogue. It's very, very, very sci-fi. I mean, I'm sure that, of course, a show about robots on an alien planet, science fiction, but it's just very science fiction in the way it tells the story and where the story goes. The plot of the movie is basically there's this big, huge robot planet that goes through the universe, and it eats planets and destroys them and turns into energy. And then when the movie opens up, it's heading for the Transformers planet of Cybertron, and they kick in the 80s rock music and so forth. So cool note, the voice of Unicron, the planet robot eating disaster of the film, is played by Orson Welles. If you don't know, Orson Welles is a legend in the film community. He directed Citizen Kane, which a lot of people feel is the best American movie ever made. And it is the last film that he ever was, period. I remember I heard an interview where someone asked him what his next project was, and he just said, "I'm playing a toy." Which is kind of ironic because they didn't make a toy for Unicron quite some time because Unicron was a planet, he had to be much bigger than all the other Transformers. So that, I think for a while it took them a while to figure out how they were going to do that. So eventually they came out with a Blu-ray of Transformers the movie. And this was the 30th anniversary. This was like 5 years ago. So I'm going to take this out of the plastic protector and show you without the glare what it looks like, because I thought this was a nice steelbook. These are released by Shout Factory. Shout Factory is the company that was able to put out the show on DVD and the movie as well. So that's the front of the 30th anniversary. Interesting note, they usually always upgrade the special features in each edition. So you see a lot of the actors and the production staff and the director, Nelson Shin, and you see them kind of age through each edition. Like they tell the story about making the movie, 5 years later they're telling the story again. It's kind of an interesting progression how the film ages, and you kind of see how much it means to the kids that grew up with it. So that's the front of it. It's got Optimus in the front, and it's got Rodimus in the cover too. Let me open it up here. There's actually not much artwork inside here. They just put an Autobot symbol right there on the left hand side, and then you can kind of see what the discs look like. And I'm guessing there's probably like a Decepticon symbol on the other side. That's pretty. They didn't really go that far with it. They could have done a lot better. I like it when they actually include like an image from the film, and it kind of expands from like both sides, not just a simple image or just color inside the steelbook. But I was really happy to get it so in HD. Now, one thing that they usually do with all these editions is there is a 4:3 version of the movie, which I think is like the aspect ratio that it was made in, and they have like a 1:8:5 that would fit your widescreen TV. So this edition has both of them, and I believe I read that the 4K edition is only available in the widescreen edition. So they were thinking a lot of fans were going to be upset by this. So I'm going to take the J card off. So this is the 4K one. Now I already did a video, I made a video unboxing this, and I did it too late at night and it was too dark and you couldn't see anything, and I watched it, I hated it. So I'm like, I'm just going to do this again. So sorry for those who love watching shrink wrap come off the product, I already ripped it off. So that's the front of the steelbook. So this is one of the climactic scenes towards the end of the film where Rodimus Prime is opening up the matrix of leadership. So I think that's a really great, strong image to go to the front. So in the back of it, we have the villain of the piece, Galvatron. And what is this? I think it's got the blurb from the original poster. If you don't know what a blurb is, mostly 80s posters do this, but posters now do it too. Whenever you have a poster and there's like a little brief description of what the movie's about or the feeling or the theme of the film, they call that a blurb. It's basically meant to kind of just get your interest, let you know this is what the movie is. So with this one, the blurb for this one is beyond good, beyond evil, beyond your wildest imagination. Also, side note, Galvatron is actually a updated version of Megatron. The story progresses where he gets an upgrade and becomes a new Transformer called Galvatron. New toy. But the voice of Galvatron, at least in the movie, was Leonard Nimoy. So let me open this up here, and there's some cards I'm going to open up here in a second, but I'm going to show the discs first. So this is one of the first, well, not the first, but one of the first animated films that I've gotten in 4K. I've only gotten Akira so far, and then Ghost in the Shell, but for the most part, less than 5 movies that I've bought in 4K that are animated. Not counting the Disney stuff, which a lot of that stuff is like digital animation. So that's the 4K disc. It's got Rodimus Prime on there, opening the Matrix of Leadership. And we got the Blu-ray in here. Pop that out. Lay this down gently. Yeah, I love Steelbooks, but sometimes it's too difficult to get them out of the case. So that is the artwork for the Blu-ray disc. Now, looking at this, I believe this is a sequence from the title sequence when it first opens up, like it envelops you in this color vortex as the titles are coming through. That's what that looks like. That was actually kind of creative. So let's take a look at the inside. So the inside of the Steelbook. This inside is actually much better. I believe this shot is from the beginning of the film where Unicron, the planet-eating robot destructor, is coming towards Cybertron, at least coming towards the first planet he destroys. I think that's what it is. So overall, I think this is a really, really good Steelbook. I like the art. It's a gloss paint. And one thing I didn't notice before, now that I'm kind of looking at it, is that the art of this is the interior of Unicron. Towards the end of the movie, Galvatron and at the time, Hot Rod, before his name changes, gets trapped inside Unicron. And this is like the inside of Unicron. The kind of the design of the walls and floors of Unicron are kind of stick out from the Steelbook. The paint kind of, I don't know how to quite describe that, but you just have to see it. So I think overall they did a really good job with the quality of it. I always joked when this last one came out 30 years ago, it wouldn't be funny if they, like 5 years later, to do a 4K. And they did. So that was a no-brainer. I was going to pick it up. Transformers is one of those franchises from my youth that meant a lot to me. And it's kind of funny when it comes to some of these animated shows. When you watch them as a kid, you kind of see them as a child. And when you are in your 20s and you're kind of, your whole viewpoint on the world kind of changes, like that kind of stuff really doesn't appeal to you much anymore. But when you get older, you're able to kind of watch it again through the lens of like nostalgia and kind of watch it and kind of understand, like, you know, this is a child's television show and the limitations of it you kind of expect and you're okay with it. But like I said, even with the fact that these were written for children, the show was designed to sell toys. In a lot of ways, some of the scripts and some of the story ideas they did were a lot better than some of the things they did in the films. So that's my take on the Transformers 4K disc. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so I don't know what the quality is like. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video to talk about that. Let's look at the art cards really fast. Art cards that we got. Okay, so we got a nice art card with Megatron on there. In my opinion, one of the best villains in cartoons back in the 80s. The voice of Megatron wasn't actually used in the movies because they hired the actor from The Matrix to play Megatron, but eventually the actor that played in the animated series came back. Even though he did a lot of the voices in the animated series, and he did other voices in the movies, even though he didn't play Megatron. I believe he started to play Megatron in the 4th movie after the other actor left, and for the life of me, I'm forgetting his name. He played Agent Smith in The Matrix. The guy, he only does trilogies, so everything else is in his trilogies, Lord of the Rings, so forth. Basically, what is the name I'm trying to remember? And I'll just put it in the follow-up notes in the description because I'm getting old. I don't remember things as well as I used to. So that's Unicron right there, played by Orson Welles. And this is one of the shots of Optimus Prime when he's battling Megatron. And this is the point where hot rod touches the Matrix of leadership for the first time. And each art card has the blurb from the poster on top. So I think one of the best additions that they've done for the Transformers movie so far. Most likely this is going to be the last time I ever buy it. I don't see any other formats coming out in the near future, so this will be the last time. So thank you so much for checking out my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. Have a great day.